Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel again. My name is Van. In today's tutorial guys, I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful flare shirt gown with an open back. And if you're interested in this video, let's get right into it. So guys, for this tutorial I'll be making use of this beautiful African print for our dress. So I folded my fabric into two like this, and then I'll go ahead and fold it again in a triangular form just like this. I'm going to fold it again, so just watch carefully how I am folding this flare part. And again, if you're sewing, if you have a project and the project is about a flare gown, I would advise that you cut your flare part first before you cut other parts of the dress. So guys, to calculate your flare, that's the down part of the skirt, down part of this gown rather, I'll be dividing my waist by 3.14. Whatever I get, I'm going to go ahead and mark it out. So I got 10.5, but I'm going to add extra half inches, making it 11. So I'm going to mark 11 inches round this part of our flare. So this was me marking out the 11 inches, and then I'll go ahead and connect it out like this. So when I'm done marking it out, I'll go ahead and take the length of our skirt part. Remember, it has to be a skirt part before it can now turn into a gown. So for the length of this skirt part, my client wanted it 32 inches. Yes, 32 inches. So I added 2 inches allowance for it, making it 34 inches. So I marked it out. Then I went ahead to cut out the excesses, that's the remaining part of the flare, so that I can be able to draft out my skirt part comfortably. I don't know if you get. So after I was done trimming out the part that I do not want, I went ahead again to mark my client's skirt length. So for her skirt length, I already said that she wanted 32 inches, but I added 2 inches allowance. So I went back to the tip of our flare skirt and I marked out the total number I got there. It's with that total number I will use to connect it to get my flare skirt. I don't know if you get. I did not use the 11 inches that I marked out initially. I had to go back to the initial point and then mark out everything. So when I was done guys, I went ahead to cut it out. After cutting it out, I still went ahead to cut out our 11 inches. The reason why I added it, remember our I got 10 and a half, but I added half inch extra to make it 11 because this skirt part has a button. So now guys, I went ahead to fold. For the upper part, I folded the fabric like this. I'm cutting the two parts at once. So this is the shirt part that I'm about to cut now. So guys, I'll go ahead and rule out my starting line as usual. I'll start with my starting line. After I'm done ruling out my starting line, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my shoulder measurement. The shoulder of my client, I used 7.5 inches. I came down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, and to get my armhole, I divided her bust by 6 plus 1.5, and it gave me 8 inches. I marked it there, and then I'll go ahead and use my ruler to straighten the lines. That's to make the line more visible. So when I'm done with this guys, next thing I'm going to do is to take the length of our shirt, where the shirt is going to stop. So for the length of the shirt, I'll be making use of 19 inches for the length of the shirt because I do not want it to be too long. Remember, at the back the waist side is actually open, so you don't have to make it to be too long. So after I was done guys, I went ahead on the my chest line to repeat my shoulder measurement. I marked it, and then I'll use my ruler to connect it to our initial shoulder line. So after I was done connecting it guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the mid armhole, That means I placed my tape there, I folded it into two just like this, and I marked the mid armhole, and then from the mid armhole I came in by 1/2 inch from my armhole so that to avoid bulges. So from my chest line I marked my bust points just like that. That's my client bust divided by 4. I connected the 3 points together just the way you're seeing me do. So guys, after I was done connecting it like this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and take my neck width. So for my client neck width, I use 2.75 for both front and back. That's for the neck width, and for the neck depth I used 2.7. I went ahead to connect it straight down. While I was sewing it, I realized that the 2.7 was too small. So guys, if you are drafting your own, draft 3 by 3, not 2.7 by 2.7. So for the back I use 2.7 by 1 inch. So my back neck depth is 1 inch. I'll go ahead and connect the points together. Let me repeat again. If you are drafting your own dress, I will advise that you use 3 by 3, not 2.7 by 2.7, because while I was sewing this, I realized that the neck width and neck depth that I used was too small for my client, so I had to readjust it. So guys, when I was done with this part, I'll go ahead and add my allowance. So since I've already marked out my bust point, I went ahead to add 2 inches allowance. I like adding a lot of allowances so that I won't have to get short at any point. So for my waistline, I went ahead to divide my client's waist by 4. I marked it there and I added 2 inches allowance. So I'll go ahead, guys, and connect it. So when I'm done connecting, the next thing I'm going to do is connect my shoulder slope, just the way you see me doing like this. When I'm done connecting my shoulder slope, for where our button is going to sit, I use 2 inches as the allowance for my button. That's my button allowance for my client. I usually use 2 inches because it's safer for me. I don't know, but it's safer, so I use 2 inches for my button allowance. So when I'm done, guys, I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'll first cut the back first before I cut the front. So this was me cutting the back neckline just like this, and then I'll go ahead and cut out the remaining parts. For my armhole midpoint, I notched there so that it will reflect on the front. So when I'm done with this, I'll separate the back. This is the back now. Then I'll now go ahead and mark out my neck width for the front, which I used minusing 1 inch, just the way my tape is. I marked my 2.75 for my front neck depth, and I'm going to connect it to my neck width, just the way you see me doing like this. I'll go ahead and cut it out. And then I'll cut out my armhole. I know I notched there, so I'll go ahead and cut it out just the way you see me doing. So guys, when I'm done cutting it out, I'll go ahead and use my chalk to mark out the wrong parts. That's the wrong part of the fabric. I'll do the same thing for this other side. So I'll open up the front parts of our shirts, and then I'm going to fold for the zip allowance. For the button allowance, I'm going to go ahead and fold it like this so that I can be able to sew it down. So I'll first fold it like this, then I'll go ahead and fold it again just like this, and I will sew it down. I'll do the same thing for the other part, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm done sewing. So this was when I was done sewing, guys. As you can see, I have sewn it and I have also ironed it. So you can see it's looking all neat and clean. So next off guys, I'm going to go ahead and place the front part on each other just the way you see me doing. I'm going to sew it down. This will enable me to be able to sew the back, the shoulder to shoulder of my back and front block. I don't know if you get it. Will keep the fabric in place so that I won't have to make mistake while sewing my shoulder to shoulder. So this was me placing the back block on the front block, right side facing right side. So I'll go ahead and join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. So when I'm done joining the shoulders with 1/2 inch, I'll go ahead and sew it and show you how it looks like when I'm done. So this was when I was done sewing it. As you can see, it's looking so fine too. So what I'm going to do next, I'll go ahead and open that side up. That's the part that I sewed together. I'll open it up so that I can be able to take the roundness of my neck to be able to create my collar. So this was me opening up the part that I sewn. That's the overlap part that I sewn, the front part. So when I'm done opening it up, I'll go ahead and take the roundness of our neck to draft out our shirt collar. So I started this way like this, and then I measured it round. To the other part. So I got 15.5 or 50, yeah, 15.5. It's too short. The roundness of my client's collar is 16. So me getting 15, that means I was not supposed to use the 2.75 that I used for both the neck depth and the neck width. I don't know if you get. So I went ahead to fold my shirt part like this, and then I trimmed out some parts of the neck so that it can be able to accommodate my client's neck. I don't know if you get. So when I'm done trimming it out, I'll go ahead and recheck it again if it's up to the 16 inches that I took for my client's round neck. So this was me rechecking. So this is it, perfect. So is the 16 inches that I wanted. So when I'm done with this guys, I'll go ahead and draft out my collar, and I will show you how it looks like when I'm done drafting. So for my skirt part guys, I went ahead to fold it again. Remember there will be button at the front part. So this is my button allowance that I'm folding right now. I'll go ahead and fold it like this, and then I'll do the same thing for the other part. I'll fold it like this again for the other part, and then I'll go ahead and sew, and I'll show you how it looks like. So this was when I was done sewing guys. It's looking clean too. So I'm going to go ahead at this point to sew down the flay part too. So before I sew down, this is my band for the skirt. You know the skirt has a band. So for the width of the band guys, I used 5 inches for the width. Then for the length of the band, I used 45 inches for the length. I used 45 inches because I added allowance. Our waist is not 45 inches. I added extra allowance just not to be short of fabric. So it's very important that you add extra allowance to whatever you're doing so you're not going to be short. So at this point guys, before I always sew my band, I mark out the part that I'm going to sew so that my band is not going to squeeze at any point. So guys, I'll go ahead and join my band to the skirt part. So I'm starting off with the button allowance first. So I'm going to use that part that I marked. I'm sewing it first from the wrong side, then I'll not turn it to the front side. So my band sewing starts from the wrong side. That means the right side of my band is facing the wrong side of my flay skirt. So this was when I was done, guys. It's looking so clean, so clean. So guys, this is how I'm going to go ahead and pull my buttons, just like this. But before then, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut the pocket of the skirt. Our gown has a pocket in front, so for the length of our pocket I'll be using 5.5, while for the width of our pocket I'll be using 8.5. So I cut 2 of this pocket. So I'll go ahead and open it up like this, trim out the excesses, and then I'll go ahead and sew it down when I'm done trimming out. So this is how I'm going to place it on the skirt. So from the band of my skirt, I came down by 3 inches for both sides. I'm fixing it from 3 inches. So this was when I was done fixing the pocket of our beautiful gown. So guys, this is it. When I'm done, guys, this is the collar. If you do not know how to draft a collar, I have a tutorial where I sewed a shirt. So I'm going to link the video on the description box, so you can go and watch it or watch how to actually draft a perfect collar. So I went ahead to fold the shirt into 2 and I notched. When I was done, I'll go ahead and fix the notch part of the collar facing the notch part of our shirt. I'll go ahead and sew it down and show you how it looks like. So this was when I was done sewing, guys. It's looking all clean and neat. So what I'm going to do next is to arrange my dress, that's my shirt, so that I can be able to take my shape. So after I finish taking my shape, I'll go ahead and then close my armhole with a bias strip. So I'll go ahead and close the side of my shirt by 1 inch on both sides, and then I'll show you how it looks like. So this was when I was done taking the shape. I also closed the middle part of that's the button side. As you can see, I sewed it down. I hemmed my armhole with a bias tape. I taped it down, as you can see. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open the back side of our shirt. When you check the thumbnail, you realize that the back side of this shirt is opened. So this was me arranging it properly so that I can be able to take it. So for the length of the back, I'll be using 16 inches. This is because I do not want the back to be too opened, because my client said she didn't want the back to be too opened. So for you, you can open it, you can decide where and what length you will need. But for me, I used 16 inches for the back opening. So for the middle part of our shirt button, from this middle part here, I came in by 2.5. Just watch closely what I'm doing. So from that center front of our shirt button, I came in by 2.5. I marked the 2.5, and then I'll go ahead and connect my 16 inches to the 2.5. When I'm done, I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this was when I was done cutting it out, guys. It's giving me that vibe, that open back vibe. So you can see, guys, it's looking all fine. So I'll use my bias strip and then to sew down the parts that I just cut now. So this is my bias strip. So I'll use this and sew the part around. So after I was done, when I'm done sewing the part with the bias strip, I'll go ahead and join our skirt, the upper part of our shirt to the down part of our skirt. I'm going to go ahead and join it like this. So this was when I was done joining, guys. As you can see, it's looking so fine, so fine. So I'll add my buttons and then our shirt is ready. Thank you guys for watching my video to the end. Please do well to subscribe, like, leave a comment in the comment section, share my videos so that I can reach more people. And I will see you in my next tutorial. Thank you guys for staying tuned. I love you. Bye.